Migrants fleeing Central America can be banned from seeking asylum in the U.S. if they travel through Mexico or another country. On Wednesday, a federal judge in Washington, D.C. allowed that restrictive new policy to stand. Judge Timothy Kelly denied petitions by advocacy organizations asking him to block the Trump administration's July 15 order. Legal challenges continue, but meanwhile, Kelly's ruling could effectively prevent migrants from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador from obtaining refuge in the U.S. More than 360,000 people from those three countries attempted to enter the U.S. since last October, many citing fear of violence at home. They lined up at legal ports of entry or crossed elsewhere, often surrendering to Border Patrol agents in hopes of remaining in the U.S. while applying for asylum. But the new Trump administration rule says they will have to seek asylum in Mexico or another country they pass through on their way to the U.S. border. They'll only be allowed to apply for asylum in the U.S. if they are denied elsewhere. The UN's High Commissioner for Refugees has already condemned the new asylum rules. Filippo Grandi suggested the policy complicates a humanitarian crisis in Central America and along the U.S. border. He said, "It will put vulnerable families at risk. It will undermine efforts by countries across the region to devise the coherent, collective responses that are needed." But Acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan says the new asylum rules are appropriate. He said the old policies inspired migrants to make perilous journeys to the U.S. in the hands of smugglers and criminal organizations. He said folks are incentivized by the gaps in our legal framework to come to the United States right now. Before the new rule, immigration advocates said 40% of applicants were granted asylum in the U.S. The Trump administration said the acceptance rate was closer to 20%.